Good morning. Welcome to Thursday, March 6th edition of the Weather Hazard Briefing for Southeast Idaho. From the National Weather Service in Pocatello, I'm meteorologist Kevin Smith, and what a challenging, complex storm we have in progress here across our forecast area. Lots to talk about this morning, so let's dive right in. Some key points here, mostly focused on the first 24 to 36 hours with this storm. Widespread rain, snow has overspread southeast Idaho. It's going to continue all day today. It's going to continue for most of you throughout the night tonight. It's finally going to taper off from northwest in the central mountains to southeast across the southern and eastern highlands as we go through the course of Friday morning. Why is this storm so challenging? Well, as we've been talking about, it's all about temperature. Temperatures are very close to freezing, just a little above or a little below, depending on where you are. And that's going to make all the difference because it's going to affect how long snow falls at a given location versus how long rain falls. And that's going to make a huge impact on accumulations. It's going to be very terrain dependent here across our forecast area. So we're seeing massive gradients in expected snow accumulations in our forecast as you go from a valley floor up the nearby terrain toward a mountain peak. And we're talking spreads of 1 to 2 inches down at some of the valley floors to a foot or much more than a foot up in some of the higher elevations just a mile or two away. A change of just 2 to 3 degrees today could mean the difference between 1 inch of snow falling or 6 or more inches of snow falling for many of our population centers. And this is going to be true for places like Pocatello, Malta, Burley, American Falls, and many others as well. We'll try to walk through some of that here in just a moment. In general, broadly speaking, everyone should be prepared if you're traveling for rapid changes in road and visibility conditions, depending on your exact location and elevation, and difficult travel, particularly over mountain passes. You may go through some valley areas where things are not bad at all, particularly if rain is falling, and then encounter significant snow accumulation at some of our mountain passes. And we'll show you some of that here in just a moment as well. Not going to dig into it too much, but we do have a break coming behind this storm system, at least for the weekend, actually starting for many of you Friday afternoon, but continuing throughout Saturday, throughout Sunday, throughout Monday. Nice high pressure building in, gradually warming conditions, really nice temperatures by the time we get out to Monday, and we'll quickly touch on that as well. Okay, diving in here, here's our storm, very obvious, front-loaded here in our 5-day weather risk outlook. Moderate impacts across much of the region here, shaded in orange, due to rain, snow, and breezy conditions. And then some of that snow shower activity will linger to various times tomorrow morning here, depending on where you are, but clearing out first, possibly by daybreak here in much of the Central Mountain region. That's why we have nothing outlined here on our weather risk outlook. Nothing too terribly concerning right now for Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We'll be drying out. We should be quiet. Shouldn't be too breezy out there, and by the time we get out to Monday, some lower elevation areas like the Eastern Magic Valley and South Hills, 50-plus degree readings returning to the forecast. So some good news there for those who are tired of winter and missing some of those warmer temperatures. Whole collection of winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings remain in effect this morning across the region, not just here in southeast Idaho, but for those of you traveling to other adjacent states. Again, you may encounter some valley areas that are not bad. Then you may suddenly drive into very heavy snowfall and snow accumulating on roadways in some higher elevation areas and over mountain passes. So just be on the lookout, be prepared, be ready to slow down, exercise those safe driving rules if you are out traveling. Current satellite showing lots of cloud cover, no surprise there. Current radar showing lots of precipitation, no surprise there. And remember, the radar beam, radar is located here just to the north of Pocatello, and as you go further out, that beam goes higher and higher in the atmosphere and starts to overshoot some of the clouds and some of the precipitation. So even outside of the areas that you see shaded in here on the radar, there is generally rain and snow falling all across the region, even out here in Shoshone, Jerome, Twin Falls, Burley, all showing rain and snow falling at this hour as well. Really nice. The webcams are doing a great job telling us this story this morning of these marginal temperatures and the impact they can have. I'm going to show you a series of 3 here. First, this is out at the INL puzzle. The temperature here is right around 30 degrees last I checked, and you can see on the webcam falling snow and some slushy conditions developing on the highways out there at the puzzle. Again, that's at about 30 degrees. Go just a little bit to the east, Telegraph Hill on US 20, 29 degrees. We lose just 1 degree with a little bit of gain of elevation, and you can see the road is completely snow covered and a little bit less slushy with a little bit heavier snow falling at that location. Again, just at 29 degrees. Heading on down, though, to US 30 at Topaz between McCammon and Lava Hot Springs, we are at about 33 degrees. And you can see there is falling snow. It's been falling for quite a while, but the road is generally clear and mostly just wet. A lot less slush down there at 33 degrees. So we're talking of a spread here of only 3 to 4 degrees, telling us how these road conditions are going to shake out. This is going to be the story all day long and throughout much of this storm. All depends on elevation, location, and temperature and how that's affecting precipitation type across the region. Now, we will see a trend as we go into this afternoon of some colder air moving in from the west. So as we go through the afternoon, everyone should slowly change over to snow. If you are in a location such as, for example, Burley, and you're not seeing much of any snowfall this morning, or you're seeing predominantly rain, your next best chance of seeing some accumulating snowfall will begin sometime this afternoon as temperatures cool and that colder air works in from the west. So I want to plant that seed as well. Everyone should be snow tonight, with activity continuing through much of the overnight hours. Here's our winter storm severity index today. A reminder that this looks at blowing snow, it looks at falling snow, it looks at flash freeze potential, and a variety of other factors. All of the areas shaded in yellow or orange are where you have the best potential today to see travel impacts in particular. And you can see we talked about this yesterday, we're actually still lighting up this area from Craters through Arco and up into Mud Lake pretty well, because temperatures are likely going to be cold enough for all snow almost all day today. And that's going to result in much more snow over this region compared to just a little bit further east in places like Blackfoot and Idaho Falls, where periods of rain are really going to cut into that. The whole region has the potential to see some travel impacts, but as you peruse the areas you're interested in here, definitely a higher probability as you get into those yellow and orange shaded areas. And it's hard to say. We may see places like even Burley, Malta, Rockland. If we can get a quicker changeover with the colder air this afternoon, we may see some travel challenges increasing in those areas as well. Maybe more on the order of yellow here. This is based on our current snowfall forecast, which we'll look at momentarily. High temperatures today getting up anywhere from the mid-30s to around 40 degrees, definitely within striking distance of that freezing 32-degree mark. These high temperatures for many of you may occur either late this morning or early this afternoon before cooler air starts to come in from the west. So do expect some areas this will support rain for a while, but we will see again that change over to snow as we go through the course of the afternoon. As we head into tomorrow morning, everything will move off to the south and east. We'll shut down the central mountains for snowfall very early in the morning, possibly before sunrise. The rest of the region will taper off over the rest of the course of the morning, maybe a few snow showers lingering in the Bear Lake area into the early afternoon. The areas you see shaded here in blue have the best potential for some lingering travel impacts with some slick spots on the roadways. Here is the latest and greatest update here on what we're calling our most likely storm total snowfall. This is our official forecast. Not a ton of change here from what we've been showing you over the past day or two. You can definitely see that gradient where places like Twin Falls, Burley, Rockland, Pocatello, Blackfoot, Idaho Falls, all generally in that 1 to 2 inch range for expected snowfall. But you can see the terrain, the mountains popping out here with much brighter colors, anywhere on the order of 6 to 12 inches of snow for many, in some places even up to 18 inches in the higher elevations. You can still see some heavier shading here again out over the Arco Desert, Craters of the Moon, Mud Lake, where we may hold all snow today. So that could accumulate on the order of about 3 to 8 inches of snow. Quite a gradient there compared to 1 to 2 further to the south and east here in Blackfoot and Idaho Falls. Remember, all of this could overperform if temperatures come in just a couple degrees colder, or we see an earlier change over to snow this afternoon for those of you who are seeing rain. Here in Pocatello, we're expecting about an inch, but at last measurement here at the Pocatello Airport, as of just after 5 a.m., we are approaching a half an inch of snow that has fallen in just the last couple hours because we did change from rain to snow. And I think we'll probably change back to rain here at Pocatello sometime this morning, and then back to snow again at some point this afternoon. So lots of illustrations here of how impactful these temperatures and precipitation types are going to be. Immigration Summit, you're going to get slammed. You can see heavier accumulations here in the southeast. Most of the Central Mountain region up into Island Park will be all snow. It'll be cold enough up in that region. So this is what we're looking at here for accumulations. But what if? So what I'm showing you on this graphic, this is the probability of 6 inches of snowfall or more. So as you're looking at wherever you're interested in here, a couple things I want to call out. Burley, we have several pieces of computer guidance that are going pretty hard here. If we can change things over to snow early this afternoon with that cooler air moving in, and if we still have widespread precipitation occurring, which we very well may, right now about a 10% chance of reaching or exceeding 6 inches of snow in Burley, even though our official forecast is for 1 to 2. Again, all about precipitation type. Over here in Soda Springs and Lava, about a 20% chance, a 1 in 5 chance of exceeding 6 inches of snow. Again, some precipitation type concerns there as well. And you can see other probabilities shown here on the map. We will have wind today. So this storm will feature some breezy conditions. This is generally all coming down out of the north or northwest, depending on your location. These are the maximum highest gusts that we're forecasting today. These winds will be strongest starting late this morning. They'll continue right through early tonight, particularly before midnight. The caution that I'll give here for particularly thinking of our transportation partners, your results will vary. What do I mean by that? In areas where we're very close to freezing and that snow is moist and more stable, it's going to be a lot harder to blow around. Whereas another location just a few miles away that's been a few degrees colder is going to have a little bit drier, fluffier snow. It's going to be a little easier to blow around. So I think there is the potential, particularly up here across the Central Mountains, Clark County, Montana border, maybe down here in Cassia County. This is where the strongest wind gusts, as you can see, are. Maybe some localized issues with blowing snow. Luckily, wind speeds are a little bit lighter down here across the south and east because we do have some higher snowfall accumulations in the forecast down in this area. We'll have to watch it hour by hour today and see how things are playing out. Here at the forecast office, that's how we're going to approach the storm today. For those who are following our updates on social media and our watches, warnings, advisories, it's going to really be a nowcasting storm where we're going to have to watch radar, reports, webcam imagery, surface weather observations hour by hour today to see how these precipitation types are playing out and how conditions are evolving. And we'll see if we can get ahead of any of it. If we're seeing changes or impacts developing, try to get ahead of that in some of our messaging or forecast updates or warning updates as well. Another great example of the snowfall gradient, we've been talking about Immigration Summit. This is probably the mountain pass that is going to be hit the hardest out of this storm, expecting 10 to 18 inches of snow here over 24 to 36 hours up over the summit, and even higher amounts just off of the summit in the backcountry. But look down here. This is looking at a profile of Highway 36 from Preston here on the left, driving up and all the way over to Montpelier here on the right. Only 1 to 3 inches in Preston, depending on your temperatures and precipitation type, all the way up to that 10 to 18 at Immigration Summit, and then tapering back down here as you go into the Bear Lake area, although still 3 to 7, slightly cooler over on that side. So another great illustration of the challenges that we're dealing with this storm. High temperatures on Friday as we wrap everything up will be a bit cooler, as we often are behind these systems. Still reaching about 40 for Twin Falls, Pocatello, Chalice, but many locations holding in the 30s. We're going to dry out. We're going to shut things down. We're going to get into a break. Here's Saturday's temperatures gaining just a few degrees, ranging from the mid-30s to the mid-40s. Sunday, 50 moving into Twin Falls, 49 in Chalice, 42 up to Rexburg, starting to get a little bit better. And then Monday, still dry, high pressure in control, plenty of sunshine, and you can see some low 50s expanding here across the eastern Magic Valley, the Raft River region, and as far east as Pocatello. So nice break after we wrap all of this up. Lot to talk about there. We're going to have to watch it hour by hour today. Please be safe. Please be prepared for, again, those rapidly changing conditions based on location and elevation. If anyone can give us reports today on what you're seeing for snowfall accumulations and precipitation type changeovers, please do reach out to our office via phone, via email, via our Facebook or X pages. We'd really appreciate that information. Everyone, have a great Thursday.